For the investigation 1 today, it deals with number lines. So we're going to take a look at some things that we'll put on the board and some of the number lines that we have on the screen over here as well. So when we talk about a line segment, that means that the line has no beginning and no end. It goes on in either direction. So a number line usually will have a 0 point in the center of that mark, okay? What that means is that everything to the right of that will be positive, everything to the left of that will be a negative number. So we have the positives and we have the negatives, depending on which direction that we go from the 0 point on the number line itself. Now the line has also marks on it that will help us to identify how many spaces there are from the point 0. So if we put marks on the number line, we call these tick marks. And we can designate how we want to label them. If we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then anything that we would put going the other direction would be negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and continuing. That means that the space between 0 and 1 is one whole unit, and then another whole unit to 2 and 3, and so on. So that's kind of how we identify. We always talk about not starting at 0. We don't go 1, 2, 3, but we start with the space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So it's easy to identify when we talk about the different arrow points or a number location. If we're continuing with our line and with tick marks, and I say, okay, well, what is this arrow pointing to? What place value or what number on the line would that be, Hudson?
7.
Okay, now we know that that would be 7 because this would be 6, and we're continuing on in that counting of the number line itself. Now, there are times when a number line might also be listed in segments, okay? So if I say this is 4, 8, and 12, and I'm looking for this mark right here would be what value? I have 4, 8, and 12. So what would that value be where the arrow is pointing between the 4 and the 8? Elizabeth? It would be 6, right? Because actually I'm counting by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So the numbers in between, even though you don't see them, that's what the value is. So note what the changes are between different numbers there, okay? What if I had on a number line here, this is 40, and this is 60, okay? So we're looking now 40 to 60, and I want to know what this number would be. Cash? 40 to 60. Look at the numbers. When?
55.
55. If that's 55, then what's this one right after 40?
45.
Okay. And then the next one, Ella? Okay. So each time we are going up by 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20. So 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So find a pattern that's between the numbers that you do see, and that happened to be 40 and 60. And then once you find the pattern, then you'll know exactly how to do that. Now, another part of this investigation that deals with the positive and negative numbers, as I said before, is to learn how to write these different numbers. So for example, if I circle this number here, it says it's -4. How do I write that? Negative, and then the number, I write that all out, -4, okay? I have to write the name negative before the number. That's how you have to do that. You can't just say -4, because that could mean a subtraction problem. It might not actually mean a negative number. So there's ways to write that both in words and with digits. If I say write -4 in digits, then that would be -4 with the negative sign before the 4. That's where it goes, before the number. Okay? So these other examples that help us to see, sometimes words in a word problem will tell you whether we're going positive or going negative. Negative numbers can be used like in the subtraction part of a number, like temperature. Let's do degrees, for example. Let's say the temperature happens to be 10 degrees above 0, but then it drops 15 degrees overnight. What would the temperature be? Okay. If our thermometer here, and it was 10 degrees, but then it dropped 15 degrees. So we have and our thermometer, if it dropped 15 degrees and it was 10 degrees above 0, then that starts here at 10, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 0, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. What is that? These are all positive numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. This would be what, Elena?
-5.
Right, -5 degrees. So that's what it would be if I dropped 15 degrees. So number lines can help us to show how that actually works. So this one's not going to be done the same way as what I was looking for, but you can get an idea of how that's done from the board work there. Now, what do you need to do for the investigation? There are some other examples and some other terms in here as you're going through the lesson itself. There are only 16 problems. You can do these just on a regular sheet of paper, which I'll give to you. And as you're going through the other examples, you can stop and ask questions of your classmates and work cooperatively. You can use your whiteboard so that we don't have to get close to each other's desks, and you can write down some of those questions that you have to show your classmate where you know the answer to those things. So this is going to be an open lesson, all right, that you're free to talk within reasons